This movie was about
Yeah. Yeah. Lights, camera, action is going down. For my ATL movies, when we run this town with your host, T-Will, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the classics, we're setting the pace. Highlighting the magic of our soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. T-Will, T-Will. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud. From the silver screen to the hearts we steal. T-Will, T-Will. Every frame we capture is a real deal. Yeah. Talking premieres where the stars align. ATL views, yeah, they really shine. Behind the lens, capture.
welcome, MCU Marvel fans. Welcome to Luke Cage Season 2 with your host T-Will and my guy Jordan Burton. Jordan, how you doing today, brother? You all right?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I got no complaints. All is well within my world, sir. All is well within my world. So today, Jordan, we are talking about Luke Cage Season 2, or as the Jamaicans who are all up and through this season say, Luke Cage. Luke Cage. We're talking about Luke Cage Season 2. What do you think? No? Maybe? I thought it was spot on. Anyway. That was
No.
that was my Bushmaster impersonation. Luke Cage. Luke Cage. All right. So, hey, we find our hero Luke after the Defenders, after they've defeated the Hand and surviving the events of that whole situation back in Harlem, and he's seen as a hero, a celebrity, a walking symbol of justice, Jordan. He's basically patrolling the streets openly, stopping crime publicly, and he becomes larger than life inside the community. Okay? But fame, yes, fame, she's a dangerous mistress, Jordan. Fame slowly begins affecting Luke emotionally. He starts enjoying the praise, the recognition, the power, the control. But I think the main thing or the main theme of Luke Cage this season is the anger that he has. Right. And I don't know if that's anger towards his father, who, by the way, is in this season as well. If it's anger towards Harlem, if it's anger towards the situation, I don't know what it is, but it's clearly a major theme in this season, Jordan. What's Luke so angry about? Talk to me. Give me your thoughts.
See, I'm not too sure. I think maybe Luke just wants to be left alone, I think. Like if it were up to him, he wouldn't be using his powers at all, and he'd just be like trying to be a normal person. But he realized he has to be in a same way, the same sense that Spider-Man has to be Spider-Man. He has to be Luke Cage. He has to be that superhero, that celebrity, that walking symbol of justice, like you said. And he just doesn't want to be that. So I think it's just frustrating him. While sometimes he's got a smile on his face, he's just like he gets annoyed with it. He gets annoyed with this routine. You can clearly tell, and I hope that when we see Luke in Daredevil Born Again season 3, that we realize that he's a very different person, and he understands that he is a hero, because like Jessica Jones, they don't want to be heroes. They don't like that, but they realize they have to be. And I think Jessica sort of, you either accept it or you move and go somewhere else. Jessica took the latter. Clearly, if you end up going and watching Daredevil Born Again season 2. But Luke, we don't really know with Luke what
that dynamic is.
Yeah. We don't know if Luke went full on hero, which I think he did, but I don't know. And I think by the end of this season, him being taken over for, or basically being the head of crime in Harlem, I think that puts it straightforward that he's leaning into the hero side. While saying that doesn't sound like a hero thing to do, I think I would be curious to see how I really hope they explain this, the time frame in between
season
season 2 and
Luke
Born
Cage.
Again season 2.
Right.
Really, like I honestly, I hope there's an entire episode of Born Again season 3. Which, all right, if you're not on the internet, it's very clear that Danny Rand, his Iron Fist, and Luke Cage are going to be in Daredevil Born Again season 3 along with Jessica Jones. We're going to get the Defenders back. It's pretty clear and obvious. There were so many behind the scenes photos taken. It's very publicly known, like it's everywhere. If you haven't seen it, you're probably not online at all.
You've been living under a rock.
Yeah. So I really hope that there's like an entire episode where like half of it is dedicated to, where like a third of it is dedicated to what Jessica Jones has been up to since from between season 3 and Born Again season 2, what Luke's been up to since Luke Cage season 2 and Born Again season 2, and what Danny Rand has been up to since Iron Fist season 2 and season 3 of Born Again, because I want to know. I mean, people are like, all right, it's very clear and obvious when you go. I'm not going to say what specific character in Born Again season 2 because that would be a huge spoiler. But it's very clear that Jessica settled down, and you can tell by just the trailers alone. So that's not spoiling anything. And we don't really know how she got to that state. Like you're telling me after season 3 of Jessica Jones, when we get to that, which I enjoy the way that ended so much. It's actually my favorite. That's my favorite non-Punisher and Daredevil episode, is the finale of Jessica Jones, because I love the way she just walks away from everything. I love that. Because that just seems like something Jessica would do, especially with everybody being gone, either arrested or killed. The way Iron Fist, I love season 2 of. I really like Iron Fist season 2. It's so much better than season 1. And the way that ends is off a huge cliffhanger. And if he's still the Iron Fist, we have a lot of questions to ask in that, because what's her name had the Iron Fist by the end of season 2. His girlfriend, I don't remember her name, but and Luke by the end of this, I mean, it seems like, spoiler alert, it seems like he's been overseas working certain jobs by Matthew Lillard's character in Born Again season 2. So how did he get from crime
underboss
to going overseas and
crime overlord? Yeah,
like he's doing all of this stuff. I'm just like, how did we get there? So I would just
would be great, not to cut you off.
Yeah,
like we just had a Punisher one last kill, like maybe a Luke Cage.
Yes,
that
would be
5-minute, since they don't do hours. Maybe a Luke Cage 45-minute, maybe an hour explanation of where he was. Well, but they won't do that. But that'd be nice.
Honestly, that's an amazing idea. I didn't even think about that, because I think they should do that. They're not going to have enough time to do that now with Born Again season 3, unless they go into season 3 and don't explain anything, and we're just left so confused. But if that's the case, then I could see specials for all 3 of them.
When is Born Again season 3's release date?
Not sure, but my assumption is it's March of next year, kind of like it was the last March of this year and the March of last year.
They could do it in like February. if they started shooting it now. But again, they probably won't. But
But
if you're listening.
And all three of the characters are tied in so well together that you can do just one episode of Born Again. You could do like this. You could release 2 episodes to start the season, and the second episode is literally it'll start with either Jessica or Luke, because I think that would be the best way to start. Considering then tie into the other. Maybe do start with Jessica, figure out where she's been, then tie it into her meeting Luke, then kind of go backwards, see where Luke's been up to, how Luke got to the point he's at, how they, spoiler alert, got together, and I'm not going to say what specifically, and especially with that certain character, you can tie it into Danny and how what Iron Fist has been up to since then. Right. I mean, you could literally do 15 minutes of each character, 45 minutes long, one episode, call it a day. That's all anyone needs. I mean, because there are certain people that like Jessica more than the rest, and I've never met anybody that likes Iron Fist more than the rest. I really hope that he's a better character and better written, and he does better going forward, because he was kind of annoying. And Luke's always been really good, but so some people really like Luke more than the rest. But yeah, you just do that. That's all. And yeah, but otherwise, I mean, I like the way the season ends. But I don't like that we didn't get the resolution behind it. Like,
you talking about Luke Cage season 2?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Because all right, in a lot of comics, Luke runs for mayor. Well, that could have been a great setup for season 3. But we just don't get that. And I mean, that could be something we see in Born Again season 3. Luke could run for mayor. I don't know. It just seems like at some point he's probably going to run for mayor. That's kind of what I get out of it. But and I think that was the whole setup behind season 2, is that he has all this fame. He has all this. He's a hero, and there's still problems in Harlem. And so by the conclusion of this season, he is now the head of everything in Harlem, and he runs everything. And I think, again, that could have been a great setup for season 3, him being mayor, is that he could do basically a good Kingpin, like where Kingpin was the control of the crime and the mayor, but he was also plotting nefarious stuff. Luke could have been doing the opposite of that, in terms of leading crime, in terms of having a hold on it, and also being the mayor. Like, there was so much setup, and I wish we got, like, I'm okay with how Jessica Jones ended. We also got 3 seasons, but Iron Fist and Luke Cage, because we only got 2, and Iron Fist was shortened. We could have gotten. I had so many questions after these seasons ended.
Well, I mean, I get it. I maybe you'll see it in Heroes for Hire, because I feel like they may be going for that. I don't know that we will see a Luke Jones resurrection with their own season or Iron Fist, but you may see a Heroes for Hire, right? You may. So don't know, not sure. But let's get into it. So I think to me, the anger part to me didn't feel organic. It felt like it was installed to support a narrative, right? Luke is probably one of the nicest people we know. One of the most. Now, if you want to say he's overwhelmed, then okay. But to me, the argument that he has with Jessica about going to see his father and about controlling his temper and all of that, to me, that just didn't feel organic. It felt
Is it
manufactured.
Jessica or Night Nurse?
I mean, Night Nurse. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. It felt inorganic, and I'll tell you why. It's like, I don't know if you do this, but on a lot of, I watch a lot of movies with my wife, and some not with my wife, but on a lot of these rom-coms or whatever, they have arguments that you can tell are clearly manufactured because they need for them to break up at this point. Oh, so we're going to argue over you going out. Well, you don't tell me what to do. They're clearly manufactured, right? It's clearly some stuff that even if you do have a disagreement, it's not worth breaking up over. But because they need this to support a narrative, because they need this character to do A, B, or C, they do it. And that's how his anger at whatever is going on with him feels, because that's not who he is. Now, again, that's just one man's opinion, but it does not feel genuine. It does not feel true to the character. But look, Luke has a lot of issues with his dad that are unresolved, and I could see that. But it's just, to me, the main conflict with Claire is, the fact that she keeps pushing him and telling him that he needs to go see his dad, and he's like, Claire, mind your business. You know what I mean? And you know what? That happens, right? That I've been married for 30 years. There have been times and situations that come up where I'm like, Kim, you might want to do X, Y, and Z. And she's like, mind your business. Okay. And I didn't like it, but at the end of the day, it didn't have anything to do with me. And vice versa. There have been times where I was doing stuff and Kim was like, you need to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, hey, mind your business. So I mean, that happens, but I just don't. In the episode where he just gets so mad and punches the wall, right? And she says, well, I grew up with a violent dad, and I'm just not going to do that. It feels inorganic because I feel like he would have known that. I feel like, as in sync as they are, as in love with they are, she would have told him that. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So he would have known, hey, I probably don't need to do that, right? And again, I understand you can get mad, but it just, I didn't like that part of it. And I understand she left and whatever you wanted, you ultimately you want him to get with Jessica anyway, so it's a convenient reason to leave. But to me, that just felt, I mean, they're so in love in the first episode, right? She sneaks into the club and he's like, you can't do that, and she's like, well, I want to help I do this, and he was like, well, guys are gonna go after my weakness, and you're my weakness. I love you. And she just looks at him and kisses him, and there's jazz music playing in the background. And your thoughts are Luke and Night Nurse forever, man. Oh my God. And then we go from that to episode 5 to, I'm just gonna leave. I'm not gonna deal with anger. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? It's like,
And episode 5 just happens to be my only negative reviewed episode, because I just, of this whole entire argument is stupid.
Yeah.
And Luke punching a wall feels so out of character for him.
Yes.
He seems like the type of, especially regardless of whether he has these powers or not. It's like, I mean, I think him adding the powers is like, bro, we know you can literally throw a car. Like, you punching a wall isn't doing it. It doesn't heighten, because, all right, here's psychology for some people. If ever you see someone who's so angry and that they decide to punch something, it's because they feel a little inferior, which is ironic, which is why they do such a thing. So it doesn't make sense for someone like Luke Cage, who is not who to this point, even before Bush, this is like really not into the deep of the whole Bushmaster situation. He goes like he's not inferior to anyone.
Right. Right.
Like at all.
Right.
So him punching a wall, I don't get it. It just doesn't make any
character
sense
for him because he's so nonchalant. You know what I mean?
he
Even
seems
when
like the type
Danny,
of person to say like hey man, like I don't choose violence. Like he just seems like that type of person. And punches a wall.
bro,
Especially with Claire there. Like
right.
your arguments with Claire and you're punching a wall, there's nothing that she should be able to say that would result in him punching a wall. Like I was just like, all right, this is just weird.
Yeah,
It did feel like they were trying to set up
yeah, it
his
did.
and Jessica's
Right.
relationship.
Right. It felt inorganic. And I just I didn't like it because, you know, I mean, if that's the case, then don't have them all in love in the first place. You know what I mean? But if you're gonna go so far as to do that in episode 1, where he's just like, I love you, and they kiss, and you got this jazz music going on in the background. And you know, as I've gotten older, I've become quite a fan of jazz. So I'm feeling the vibes in episode 1, Jordan. I'm I'm like, okay, Claire, I see you, Luke. Let's go. Let's go. Couple goals. And then we get from that to you should go see your dad. I'm gonna punch a wall. Like it whatever. It didn't track for me. So that was, you know, the only thing. Whatever. But let's get back to it. So Enter Bushmaster, John Bushmaster McKelver enters the season as one of Marvel Netflix's best villains. Unlike many antagonists, Bushmaster believes Harlem and the Stokes family stole everything from his bloodline. And they did. And they did. As we get into the story, we see this man has a legitimate axe to grind. Bushmaster is strategic. He's ruthless. He's charismatic. He's deeply personal in his motivations. His feud with Mariah Dillard isn't simply criminal, and it's not. And every time somebody says Mariah Dillard, he corrects them and says Mariah Stokes. Mariah Stokes. Like he can't separate the Stokes name. And it's interesting because a large part of this season is not just about Bushmaster saying Mariah Stokes. It's Mariah Stokes accepting that she is a Stokes and leaning all the way into it, right? Because so far she's been like, I want to legitimize. Now, here's one thing that didn't make sense to me. You got $364 million. You should be able to legitimize. I don't understand that. You $364 million, you can buy what is needed in Harlem. You can basically be Luke Cage without being Luke Cage. You can regulate stuff, right? You can. It's just, to me, like her focus is off this season because things don't fall in place exactly the way she wants, right? And I understand that, you know, Bushmaster took everything from her. But the response to that, right? The going down to that shop owned by the Jamaicans and killing all of those people was unnecessary. It was over the top. It was an overreaction. And I didn't understand it because you've won, right? Yeah. And I understand that, yeah, he burned your house down or whatever, but you should have kept that to him. You should have, whatever you were going to do, you should have confined that to just him. But to do that and set that man on fire and walk in and kill all the, like, if you wanted to kill the girl that was disloyal to you, fine, kill her. And if you wanted to kill just his uncle, fine, but you killed everybody in that shop. Now, Jordan, you could argue that as a villain, if you want to prove a point, sometimes you got to be loud, right? Yeah. And he did come in and burn her house down and, basically try and do it to her, but he did it just to her. He didn't do it to any other business. He did it just to her. I don't know. What do you think about that response? What do you think about? I felt like it was an overreaction, but maybe I'm wrong. Do you feel like her response to this, right? And just for those who don't know, basically Bushmaster comes in. Mariah is dealing with a guy. What's Piranha? Was that his name? Piranha,
Yeah.
which is basically her money guy, for lack of a better term. I tell you what, these names, man, Cottonmouth, Diamondback, Piranha, like they were really obsessed with aquatic life. I don't get it with reptiles. I don't know, but anyway, Piranha is essentially a money guy. He deals with stocks and bonds and all sorts of white collar crimes, basically washing money, moving money here, moving money there. And for whatever reason, Mariah Dillard gave him power of attorney. So Bushmaster figures this out, kidnaps him, gets him to transfer all of Mariah's money to him, and then beheads him, right? And then once he has her money, he goes after Mariah, sets Mariah's place on fire with her in it. And so basically, once they come out of that situation, I forget how, but Mariah is able to get her money back. I guess because her lawyer said that this happened to Piranha under duress. And so because of those circumstances, he was able to get the funds transferred back to Mariah. But once this happened, Mariah goes just insane. A large part of her character arc is leaning into villainy. And I mean leaning into villainy. But I want to stay on point here. Do you feel like her response to all of this, to go down to that shop and kill 20 people, set one of them on fire, do you feel like that was an adequate response, or do you feel like that was no reaction? Like, give me your thoughts.
Definitely an overreaction. I mean, if we're going for plot story and making the story a little juicier, then yeah, it's perfect. But you're not going to setting somebody on fire is a little crazy, and then killing all those people. Considering
that is
like, if you're logical,
I think we talked about that last show, but to set someone on fire is the worst way to die. Like
with the Punisher special, yeah.
That is the bro. So I was like, and she set this man on fire, and then when he didn't die quick enough, which I mean at that point, yeah, put him out of his misery. But bro, she is leaning into full villainy. And as this story unfolds, we begin to realize that Mariah has a lot of PTSD. She has a lot of pent-up, unresolved issues that she's been holding on to so tightly because she wants to project this corporate image. She wants to project this image that, no, I'm not a Stokes, I'm a Dillard, and we do things the right way. We're the Kennedys after all of, whatever the rumors are. That's the image she wants to project. And it feels like in season 1, she's fighting to maintain that. And in season 2, she just gets to the point where she's just like, F it. And when I say she embraces full villainy, she embraces full villainy. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, man. You were talking. I'm sorry.
No, let's see. Where was I at? No, I think it was definitely an overreaction. I mean, she's crazy.
Yeah.
Mariah's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't like Mariah's character all that much, because a lot of the times with villains and heroes and stories, there's a certain dynamic they have. And again, I think they're trying to make it like a Kingpin and Daredevil situation, where it's like Daredevil wants what's best for New York, Kingpin wants what's best for New York, but what they specifically want for New York is really a different, but also in the same. And for this, it's like, I don't know. I don't believe that she wants what's best for Harlem. I don't believe, like, I don't know what her deal is. Like, like, what does she want to accomplish from all of this? I keep on going back to that. What does she want to accomplish at all? Like, she's, like you said, she's got all this money, over $300 million.
Right.
What does she want to accomplish if she's got all this money, all this land? She's able to run all the drug trade and and all the crime. What do you want to accomplish? Because you also, before all of this, she was like, I forget what her deal was. She was doing commercials when Cottonmouth was alive. I don't remember what. She was trying to, like, help schools and stuff like that. And I'm like, what do you want to do? And Luke wants to help Harlem. He wants to stop the crime. He wants peace. So I get that section. That's why Luke's a great character. But I never understood what her deal is.
Well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So with Bushmaster coming in, I like Bushmaster. I mean,
he ends up being likable. Now, in the beginning, I didn't like him because I'm like, who the hell is he? But the more you hear his story, the more you hear about what you kind of low key root for him. So I did like Bushmaster. I did. But I think Mariah was trying to keep this from gentrification. I think in season 1, her main goal is to keep Harlem in the hands of those in Harlem. In other words, let's make sure these brownstones stay in our hands. You know, let's not let the value just plummet to the point to where outsiders can come in and build it up. And she did that. Well, and she could have done more of it with $300 million. You would think she could have done more of it, but I just wonder, and that's what didn't make sense to me is, where's the Mariah from season 1 in season 2, right?
Yeah, what's her goal? What's her goal? Like, season 1, you're right, but season 2, it's like, that's gone. Well, now what's your end game here?
Right.
Like, I have no reason. I was rooting for Bushmaster. Anytime Bushmaster was facing her, I was rooting for Bushmaster. Anytime. And because I was like, all right, I don't like Shades either. I think Shades is just so
I like Shades. That's where you and I disagree. I like Shades because let me tell you something. Shades is a hood strategist. If she would have listened to Shades, she could have been able to accomplish whatever.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Shades is smart. What is it that you don't like about him?
I don't know if it's like the performance by the actor or what. I just get this like off vibe when he's on screen. Like, I'm just like, I don't know. I can't pinpoint it, because every time I watch it, I'm like, I like him more than Mariah. I think that's where I think he would have more reasons if he had all of that power than Mariah, because he understands Harlem and how Harlem works, how the crime works. He understands all of that, but he just doesn't want to be the head of that snake. But he does have a little control in the snake.
I think he's loyal to a fault. I think he's loyal because he loves Mariah. He, make no mistake about it, he loves Mariah, but Mariah is so volatile. She's so visceral. You know what I mean? Like, when something happens that she doesn't like and she turns on somebody, Like, she will make a person just lose it with the stuff she says. And it's almost it's best way I can summarize it is, you know, she walks into a room and sucks up all the oxygen. Like it's all on her. If you're in a relationship with somebody like that, ultimately you're going to have issues because you're not going to get the sunlight that you need. You're not going to get the nurturing that you need because everything is about her and her ego and her purpose. But I think he legitimately loves her, and his flaw is he wants to see her win.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you know what? By the time he gets sick of it, he's like, you know what? She needs to be stopped. I think it's when she goes and kills everybody in that store, he did not like that. And he says, okay, she's got to be stopped because she's not rational at this point. She's not listening to anybody. She's not rational. But Bushmaster, he wants generational revenge. So the Stokes killed his dad. They killed his mom. They set his mom on fire. I think she pushes him out of the house or whatever when he tells the story, and she says, run. But if that's the last moment of your mother, the last moment that you have with your mama, not your daddy, because, hey, everybody loves daddies, but mama's it. So if that's the last moment that you have indelibly imprinted in your brain of your mother of that day, I can see why he wants to get back. I can get behind it. I can understand it. I know the Lord says vengeance is mine, but I get it. I get the need for get back. And Bushmaster takes this, I don't know, what do we call it? Is it an herb? We want to call it an herb called Nightshade, and it gives him his powers. And he and Luke meet up, and he gives Luke the smackdown. And Luke had become so used to beating people that Luke doesn't know how to deal with that. So like he did sneak Luke. He did sneak him, and he didn't see it coming, but Luke is used to just hitting people and dispensing justice, and Bushmaster lays the hammer down. And I can't remember the guy who does the filming or whatever, but he's so funny. He's like, damn, Luke. Just the way he says it, it looks like really, really. He was like, "Hey, man, I got to be honest with you. If your friends can't be honest with you, who else can, right?" I mean, he doesn't go so far. He doesn't do Friday and be like, "You got knocked the bleep out," but it's pretty close, right? Let's talk about this first interaction with Bushmaster, where he kind of lays the smack down on Luke.
Yeah, I mean, I like that in season 1 we had him facing off against his brother, and that was a semi Luke is such a powerful character that you need characters that are also as powerful as him. That's why Mariah is kind of like the more of a mental to Luke's physical strength. So that can be a long-term character, and she could span seasons like she did. But I like having a physical character up against Luke because a lot of these shows and a lot of Marvel, the general template is if you have a physically dominant presence, you want to have a mental villain. But not many times do we have just this brute like strength, fight on fight, and like I want to see Luke go up against someone that matches him bar for bar.
Yeah.
And that's what Bushmaster does. And a lot of it comes from the Nightshade. But I also like the added fact that he's pretty good in like martial arts, basically. Bushmaster has martial arts background. Luke has no martial arts background. If Luke and Danny trained for a year, Luke would be one of the greatest heroes on the world,
right?
And just having some martial arts background.
Same thing with Jessica Jones. Jessica's just so strong. She doesn't have to be a prodigious fighter.
That's true. But the other added fact, which we got to last season of Jessica Jones, was she's not bulletproof.
Right.
Like if Luke is bulletproof, he's a lot stronger than Jessica too.
Yep.
And I mean, he can take the punch of the Iron Fist. And if he could have just some background in martial arts, he'd be an incredible fighter. He should be with the Avengers then.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at him now, I mean, I understand with the rights issues and stuff like that at the time when Luke came out. Like, I understand that. But if Disney had the rights to Luke before this, there's a strong possibility that we would have seen Luke in live action a lot sooner. I don't know where you would have put him, but I think just with his skill set, he could have been an amazing asset for the Avengers, especially in like Endgame and Infinity War. But getting back to it, yeah, Bushmaster is such it's a weird. I will say, the weirdest. I'm gonna say it once, and we're moving on. One of the weirdest names of a character. Anyways, we like, come on. Anyways, yeah, just him being the same, like, there's in strength and brute strength, but Bushmaster just being a better, like,
a more fighter,
he that's so good for Luke to finally fight someone who does have the upper hand on him. Now, again, this is more of like a temporary power for Bushmaster with the Nightshade. So that's where it's. I mean, I was watching this season before the Nightshade ever got brought out. I was like, how is anyone going to stop this dude? Right. Like, at one point, I'm like, all right, maybe they'll use like the bullets from like to shoot him, and then they'll kill Bushmaster, or like they shot Luke and he was basically like dying. You could do that again, but I mean, I was like, how are they gonna kill this dude? And then when you find out it's all temporary, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, well, we have a weakness, attack the weakness.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's killing him. That's the other thing about it. That's it's kind of a metaphor for revenge, and how they tell you when you plot a course for revenge, dig 2 graves, because the more focused you are, the more you let that hate in your heart, the more you hate, it's going to corrode you on the inside. And that's literally what's happening. That's literally what's happening to Bushmaster. The more of Nightshade that he takes, the more it's taking away from him and killing him. But he's committed to this mission. And I understand it, because at the end of the day, this is your namesake, this is your mom, this is your dad, and he has dedicated himself to this cause. He has dedicated himself to the cause of, no, this is my birthright. You did my family wrong, and I'm going to make sure that we correct this. And so I get it. But in Act 2, we get to a power struggle between Luke Cage, Bushmaster, Mariah Dillard, Shades, and the criminal underworld. And Bushmaster's attacks destabilize Harlem completely. He humiliates Luke publicly, and exposes some of Luke's blind spots. And again, Act 2 is where Mariah just completely transforms. So Mariah has a daughter, conveniently, that we knew nothing about. I shouldn't say that, but we knew nothing about her. Her name is Tilda Johnson. She's actually a doctor who practices shall we say holistic medicine?
Yeah.
Is that a better way of saying it?
Yeah.
So she practices holistic medicine. As a matter of fact, Bushmaster comes in to see her, and he asks her for Nightshade, and she provides it. But she's estranged from Mariah. And when we see the interaction between the two, we see that Mariah has clearly rubbed her the wrong way, and clearly, been not a positive impact on her life. We don't understand why until we get into later episodes, but the initial response of her is, oh, okay, you probably want to complain about the fact that, I have this little bitty shop and, I'm not a big doctor at some big hospital. I'm just, so and so. And Mariah is basically using her because she's trying to get back into politics. And after her name was besmirched in the previous season, what they tell her is you need to clean up your image. And, America loves a comeback story. So if you can reunite with your daughter and do it publicly, maybe they will root for you. Maybe they will do that. And so this is the entire reason she reaches out to her daughter. It's not altruistic. It's not, I just want to help you. It is, well, I really want you to do this for me. But people like Mariah never do things for people. When they give, there's always a backhanded purpose. They give with one hand and take with the other. And so, but of course she doesn't present it this way to her daughter. She's like, yeah, I made some mistakes, but let's fix it. Let's work on our relationship now. Let's do this now. And we will see in later episodes that this is completely disingenuous, that this is not her purpose at all. But I've talked way too long. Give me your thoughts on Mariah and the dynamic between her daughter and just where they are with that.
Her daughter's such a convenient plot point that I thought by the end of this season, I tried to predict the end of this season when I first saw her, and I was like, something's gonna happen to Mariah. She's gonna take over the industry, but her and Luke are gonna be like a boothing sort of situation. So basically, he'll be the one controlling the crime. That's what I thought was going to happen. And I stuck with that all the way through to the finale. Like, I thought her daughter was going to take over for all the crime and stuff. And I thought Luke and her were going to be a thing. But that ended up not happening. I think that would have been a very interesting plot point going into season 3, if we got a season 3. I think at this point, her daughter, by the end of the season, there's not really a reason for her daughter to be there other than, like, she just feels like a very, very convenient plot point to the whole story.
She feel like a plot device.
She is one of those. She's such a plot device that she connects all 3 characters, Mariah, Bushmaster, and Luke, in a way that's like, okay, if I get to her, then I get to, from Bushmaster's perspective, if I get to her, I get to Mariah. From Mariah's perspective, if I connect with her, then I can have more power than Luke and Bushmaster. And with Luke, it's like, okay, if I get to her, then maybe I can convince her to stop Bushmaster and Mariah. She's just like there. And then as soon as Bushmaster's out of the equation and he leaves, as soon as Mariah is killed, she's now gone. Her character is just not that important. She's not important anymore. So I don't know. A very strong, convenient plot point. I like the character. I just wish there was like more importance. I wish she like Luke. She just wants to do her own thing. She just wants to have her shop and call it a day. Which is why I thought her and Luke would really get along, and I think they wanted that to happen, but for some reason they just didn't happen. It would have made so much sense if she took over for the industry, because it's one of those things that's like, I don't want this, but you're gonna have it anyways,
right?
But they just don't do that.
They used her as a plot device. Well, they use her as a plot device to kind of further their agenda. So you are correct about that. But Mariah goes into full monster mode. So one of the things that she does, the captain at the beginning of the season is not the captain at the end of the season. The captain at the beginning, welcomes Misty Knight back. She kind of goes through this thing where I don't want to be a cop anymore, and blah 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 blah. She's going through changes. She ends up getting the mechanical arm from Danny's company, and it is awesome, and it kind of levels the playing field because in episode 1 and 2, they're kind of looking at her arm and treating her differently, and she meets the young lady who was, I believe, on her college basketball squad, and there's this natural rivalry going on. But anyway, Misty's captain is fair. He's like, I need you back at work, blah 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 blah. Anyway, he gets killed during the season. Okay. And they don't really say this, but it feels like this kind of pushes Mariah over the edge, right? And not that she was in love with this guy, but I think that because he was a good guy and she did care about him at one time, and he was a police chief, I think that she had a certain respect for him and a certain regard for him. And I think it really hurt her when he died, right? And they have this conversation, and he says, does she know who her real father is? And she's like, well, no, and she's not gonna know. That's my business. And anyway, after he dies, she has this conversation with Tilda, her daughter, and it is just brutal. I mean, it is brutal. And it's weird because they're kind of sitting there talking and they're having this moment. And it's like she just goes into full storyteller mode. And she's like, my uncle he was intelligent. He was handsome. He just had a swagger. I really liked him. I liked him a lot, but I didn't like him in that way. And I didn't want that. And when it happened, Mom Mabel just said that, well, you're going to go stay here and you're going to do that. And, of course, they sent you away. And as she's talking to her, she's kind of slowly getting to the point to where she's explaining that her uncle, Mariah's uncle, is her father. Yeah. Right? And she's like, well, you had to go and stay with them. And there was no way that I could raise you. I mean, I was whatever. So that's why you stayed with these people. And there's so much angst. We really get to see the anger that is still unresolved, right? For what he did to her, which that's a real thing. That is a real thing. And look, I'm not a woman and I haven't experienced that, but from what I'm told and from the conversations that I've had, that like never goes away, right? That's a real thing. And so, she tells her, and she's like, I didn't want it, and that's why I killed Cornell. That's why I bashed his head, and that's why, because he said I wanted it, and I didn't. But we see that really what happened is when he said that to her, it triggered her. It literally took her back to that time. And because she hasn't dealt with it, because she hasn't received therapy from it, she lashed out. Mm-hmm. I don't think she meant to do that to Cornell. I think she lashed out because it was in the moment and it happened, right? Mm-hmm. But the thing that she does, Jordan, that is so, so cruel, is she says to her, I tried to love you, but I just couldn't. Every time I look at you, it just reminds me of him, and I just want to vomit. I just don't love you. And she says it in this nonchalant way. That's nothing that you say to your child like that. She's a monster at this point. Mm-hmm. And she said it like it's Tuesday and, I'm going to go out for coffee at Starbucks. And it's so, I hated her in that moment. Give me your thoughts, Jordan.
And it's just a 180 where it's like she says that beginning part of what happened to her, and it's like you suddenly feel bad, and you think you understand this character, and you think like, okay, I like now I understand. And in my opinion, this should have been something done in season 1, because then we definitely would have more of an understanding of why Cottonmouth.
Why she did that, right?
Yes,
I agree. I agree with that.
Again, but what I take from season 1 is Cottonmouth should, if you're going to kill him off, he should have been season 2, or just not at all. Like you start to feel bad for her, and you're like this is heartbreaking and stuff, and then she follows it up with the most cold reaction to her daughter, and I'm like, wow, that was so cold that like I don't care about you at all.
I mean, that was no.
Like it's a whole 180 of them of
right.
like you feel bad, you suddenly have felt more bad for this character than you ever felt. Then because of her reaction, you feel nothing for this character.
Right.
And so it makes her death so much sweeter by the end of this season.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to agree with you, but I have no choice but to agree with you. You're 100% correct, bro. Like she was that is one of the most cruel. You just told the girl that she is the product wife. He beats his girlfriend, and he beats her son. Mm-hmm. And he's just a scumbucket, right? And so there's this one particular moment. I think Luke had gone to see the kid and gone to see the lady, and gave her his card, and she calls him during one of the where the guy's basically beating her. And Luke shows up, and I think Luke is angry about a whole lot of stuff and just unloads on this guy and almost kills him. And this is where Claire and Misty Knight show up, and they're like, you gotta calm down, man. You can't do stuff like this. You know what I mean? You can't be Harlem's hero and do stuff like this, because this is abuse. You can't do that, right? And Luke kind of has a thing after that. This is where he and Claire kind of have that disagreement about everything that's going on, and he punches the wall and she leaves. And he continues to spiral after that. And it's not until later on in the season when he starts dealing with his dad and they really start having conversations that he sees what's going on with him. And it's that he's got so much unresolved issues. I think a part of it is the unresolved issues with his dad, and a part of it is he just feels overwhelmed with Harlem. And the one thing that kind of got me about this is the way they talk to him. Luke, this is what's going on. You need to fix it. It's like, I don't see them talk to Spider-Man like that.
No.
You know what I mean? And that it doesn't mean that they don't, but I don't see them, hey, Spider-Man, you need to fix it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's branding. I don't know what it is, but these folks feel like they can just, even a kid, you know what I mean? And I didn't like this because the kid curses at him, and I'm like, you should have checked you shouldn't talk to an adult like that. Like there's a clear demarcation between adult and child. And, again, this kid's the parent is a millennial. So, I should have expected it, but I did not like that exchange at all. Go ahead. You about to say something.
And that's the identity issue, is that once you reveal your identity, people feel like they see you for who you are, so that they know who you are. So the one time this example is pointed at Peter Parker is during the sequence in No Way Home, when everybody knows his identity. It's like people start using him, trying to use Flash Thompson's one example. They try to use Peter as something more. The school tries to look at the teachers look at him differently. And I mean, some call him a murderer. Some people are like hailing him a hero. And it's once you reveal your identity, it's like people know who you are. They know the people you are around, the people you're associated with. So by knowing you, they then feel that that especially since you're a hero and helping for Spider-Man in your friendly neighborhood, Luke he helps Harlem. They if that's their goal, then once you know their identity, it's like, okay, I need help with something. Hey, Spider-Man. Hey, Luke. I need you to help me out with this. You don't help me out with this. Oh, well, I don't like you. Like that's where it's people are don't understand that like they're normal people too. It's just they have
People just become
power.
assholes when they know they just
Yes.
become assholes when they know
Yes.
certain things about you. They really do. I mean,
Yes, and that's why
Yeah.
Jessica is secluded. Also, is like
Yeah.
she just doesn't want to. She doesn't want to deal with anyone. She does her own separate thing with Elias investigations and stuff. And occasionally, when people come up to her or they understand her powers, they'll be like, "Well, can't you just do this?" And she'll be like, "No." Like she doesn't want to. She doesn't want to be labeled by her powers. Another issue I had with season 2 of Jessica Jones is that, like you said at the end of that review, was that they didn't display her powers, and it was more of just. I mean, it felt like we were just watching Jessica Jones without any sort of powers. It didn't feel like a superhero show.
It felt like it felt like I'm not going to say that, but it felt like they focused so much on the story.
Yeah.
And it was a good storyline, but it is a Marvel character. You need to kind of, maybe it could have been a little less of that, and maybe there could have been another villain. But it just felt like, they focused so much on the story that it was like, I mean, yeah, it was good, but I don't know. But anyway, I got it. Again, I didn't hate it. It was okay. Well, let's get back to this. Misty Knight kind of goes through her own thing. She struggles with her not having an arm, and she goes to see Colleen, and she and Colleen really become tight. But she goes to see Colleen. Colleen is like, well, you still have one other arm. And Colleen takes her into a bar where she knows something is going to happen. These guys start with her. And Misty Knight ends up in a conflict and ends up beating the guy with one arm. And this kind of boosts Misty's confidence, which is what, Colleen was trying to do. And I believe they end up giving her the arm either after that or the episode after that. But once she gets the mechanical arm, she feels better. She feels like herself. And who wouldn't? You now can do things that you couldn't do before. She's already a great fighter. It's going to make her an even better fighter. And this at the time that we saw this, it was rumored that this was setting up the Daughters of the Dragon series, which was with Misty Knight and Colleen Wing, but we never got that. And honestly, I don't think we ever will now. But it kind of led to that. It felt like that's what they were leaning into. But she goes through her thing. Shades has a different trek this year, man. And I like Shades. Because to me, if Mariah would have listened to Shades, really listened to him, Mariah would have won. She would have won because Mariah didn't want to run the criminal enterprise, right? And she had to lean into it to do it. And once she leaned into it, she liked it. But if she'd have just listened to him in the first place and sold him the club and done whatever else she wanted, or given him the club and done whatever else she wanted to do with her $300 million, she was fine. But like you say, she's cuckoo. So, but it's interesting, the dynamic between he and Comanche. Right. And Comanche, obviously, he and Comanche went to jail together. They came up together. They grew up together. Comanche protected him in the neighborhood when he was young. And we see that Shades has a love for Comanche. We don't know. we don't know all of the components of that until later when it comes out. But clearly they're tight. And Comanche is it comes out later that Comanche is a snitch for the captain and feeding him information. And how it comes out is the captain makes he makes a comment about something he has no business knowing. And it's something that only could have come from someone within Mariah's network, within her internal network. And so Mariah goes off on Shades because she's like, well, it was only a couple of us who knew. And Shades finds out that basically it was Comanche because he follows Comanche and finds him with the captain. And as soon as Comanche sees this, Comanche kills the captain. And Shades is like, you know what? This could work. This could, and this is what I like about Shades. He is very adaptable because he doesn't show anger toward Comanche. He doesn't. He's like, this is what can happen. We're gonna say he shot you, and you shot him, and da 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 da, and then he shot you. And while he's down from an angle where the captain would be, he shoots Comanche in the gut. Okay, obviously killing him because at that point he had to go. And he says, because of my love for you, I couldn't see the snitch in you. And we don't understand that until in the next episode, it's revealed that while they were, in prison together, and I'm not even going to finish the sentence, you know where I'm going. And so, and Mariah, being Mariah, kind of alludes to this when she was like, oh, okay, this is what's going on. Now I know why he hated me so much. Now I know why but it's cruel because this is someone that Shades has grown up with since he was like 5-6 years old. This is like a brother to him, right?
More than a brother to him. He's a brother to him. Keep going.
There's so many jokes I could crack, but I'm not gonna do it. But anyway.
He's more than a brother.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, but it's cruel because she really is kind of dancing on that nerve. And he takes this, but it's a struggle for him because he's still trying to support her. He still loves Mariah. He wants to see her win, and she is kind of spinning out here. And we're beginning to see her just become more and more and more corruptible, right? Just give me your thoughts on that scene and just everything that went down with that.
I think there's a lot. What makes Shades such a good character at times in the way he's written is that you don't really know a lot about him.
Right.
But it's like the more, regardless of this situation, even in season 1, the more I knew about him, it's like I like the mystery and intrigue with this character the most.
Right.
And it's like even finding out that him and Luke were in the same prison together and that's how Luke got his powers, like I didn't like that. I just thought it was just, and it ends up just being pointless. Like this part, like this leads to him like separating basically from Mariah, but I don't know. I feel like there would have been more intrigue if there's a lot of plot points going on in this season.
Yes, very much.
There's a lot, and this felt like there's a lot of information we find out with Comanche and Shades together, and I'm just like I'm trying to process like Shades' own personal life,
right?
And then he's going and shooting people that in his personal life. It's like, okay, it's like once we learn his personal life, it's like then all of a sudden it's gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, what was the point of that?
Yeah.
So,
I think it was to kind of give you, like you say, we don't really know Shades.
But I like that there's certain characters in certain shows and movies where it's like their intrigue is what makes them interesting to me.
Okay, so you
Uh,
you didn't want to see the cooks in the
No,
kitchen on Shades. You didn't want to see that.
No.
I got
And
you.
honestly, you could have written him in a way because he was loyal. And he was so loyal to basically seeing Harlem and be successful and whoever he was second in command to, that you didn't need any sort of backstory. You could have just said he grew up, worked hard to get into this spot, and has seen a lot of things go down, and that's why he is loyal to this city. But you just I mean, at this point, like, if they told me he had 3 wives and 17 children, I'd be like, what is going on here? Like, there's certain characters, and one of the examples is in what is it, John Wick 4? John Wick 4. What is it? What is the guy's name? Kane. Kane, played by Donnie Yen in John Wick 4, has a lot of intrigue because of the mystery. It's like, okay, he knows John Wick, but we don't really know much about him. But it feels like that's okay because the mystery behind that character is cool.
Yeah.
But then it comes out we're getting a Kane movie, and I'm like, why do we need?
You ruined it.
I like Kane. I like Kane.
But I don't want to know that much about him.
Yes, there's certain characters and certain movies and shows that it's just like, it's like, ooh, I love the mystique
is a part of the intrigue.
Yes, and it's like, I don't want to know the number one example in different obviously in some backgrounds we do have a lot of his backstory, but in the ones where we have very little backstory is the Joker. Yeah. We don't know much about him, but that's what makes him such an interesting character of chaos.
And that's true. Now
him.
You hit the nail on the head with that one. That is a part of his intrigue, because you're 100% right about that. Yeah. It's a good example.
And we also and it makes those characters unpredictable. Like with Shades, I felt like at times that he would have been unpredictable. And like when he does shoot Comanche, unpredictable. Yeah. I didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah.
But it's like the more you know about a character, the more you realize the more you can mentally predict who they are.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to know about certain characters because I want them to remain unpredictable.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I'd like to see a Shades, maybe a Shades special or whatever, just because I think he's an interesting character. Even when they come to tell him he's going to jail, he just laughs. He's so a part of the game, and he appreciates the way the game goes, and he has such respect for the game that even though he ends up losing, he just laughs because he's thinking, okay, I'm gonna go to prison, I'll be fine, I can handle myself, right? But it's just, he's a very interesting character. Anyway, in Act 3, Harlem completely fractures, alliances collapse, betrayals increase, violence spreads, and everybody becomes emotionally compromised. Bushmaster's war against Mariah reaches its climax. And as all of these things are going on, and this is another part of the storyline, Luke is sick of Mariah and he's sick of Bushmaster. Matter of fact, he says to Bushmaster, I wish you guys would just kill each other. He said, then, my life would be so much easier. But what's funny is when Mariah gets locked up in the last couple of episodes, Harlem goes crazy because there is no one at the top, right? And nature abhors a vacuum, meaning if there's no one at the top, there's now a competition for someone to be at the top. So you're going to have more murders. You're going to have more conflicts because people are trying to establish a natural pecking order, right? A natural chain of command. And this is what's going on. And in the backdrop, you still got Shades and Mariah going at it. And Luke finally says to himself, I should just control it. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? And it is I gotta be honest. I did not like it. I still don't like it, but I understand how he got there. Right? I don't like it. Because we don't see heroes like Spider, and maybe I'm a little sensitive, but I just feel like why does the African American, one of the few African American heroes who started this out between Black Panther and Luke Cage, why does he have to result to being a criminal to control it? We don't see Spider-Man do that. We don't see any other heroes doing that other than Luke Cage. And again, maybe I'm sensitive, so I'm not saying that I'm not. I didn't like it, but I understand it in the context of this story because it's either he's going to do it or he's got to put somebody else in there that's going to do it that aligns with his principles, that aligns with his belief system. And since there isn't anyone like that, then it's going to have to be him, right? Go ahead. You look like you want to say something.
Here's why it only works with Luke. All right, and it's like, let's list out a bunch of superheroes who are in a major city. So that could be Los Angeles, New York. Mainly, they're all in New York. I mean, at this point, it feels like every single show or movie we do is based in New York. Yeah. But a major city. So like we got Jessica. We got Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. I don't even know where Danny is.
Iron Man.
I'm not even gonna count him.
We're not counting Iron Man because he's.
I wouldn't count Iron Man, even those who are dead. But I wouldn't even count Iron Man or Captain America or Avengers level characters because I'm gonna talk like street level. Yeah. Only working in their area. So yeah, we'll take out Doctor Strange too while we're at it. So that's all the Defenders, Spider-Man. Let's just count Punisher for Punisher's sake.
Yep.
Miss Marvel. I mean, all of the events of Ant-Man take place in San Francisco in Ant-Man 1, 2, and 3.
Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
Yes. I'll count live action right now. You know what? I'll count Miles Morales because he's got the movies. So, of all of those characters, let's take away all the ones that have their identities revealed to the public. So that's Spider-Man. I'm actually Ant-Man's
Punisher.
Ant-Man's Punisher's identity is revealed to the public. So. All right. Then we have the Defenders and Ant-Man. And Miss Marvel is a secret identity too, so we can take her away. Then so with the Defenders, now let's the Defenders minus Danny Rand because I have no idea where he's at. I mean, I guess he's in New York, but it's almost like he claims New York by season 2, but it's like it doesn't feel like it, because by the end of season 2, he's not even in America. Of those characters, which ones use their powers to help that neighborhood out? Because Jessica doesn't even use her powers at all. Ant-Man definitely doesn't. Ant-Man uses his powers for like Avengers level threats and like bigger like multiverse collapsing threats. Ant-Man 1 is probably the closest we get to that, but at the end of the day, if the Yellow Jacket won, it would have been a global threat. By Ant-Man and Wasp, that would have been a global threat. Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania, that was a multiversal threat. So Luke and and the Punisher. Now the Punisher. We can say now the Punisher. Luke and the Punisher are now the only two characters that have that ability to where they are in the public eye, that characters can point at them and say, like, you didn't do this right. You're at fault. Those are the only two characters now in in this Marvel universe that can do that. The Punisher just got into that part because the Punisher was the Punisher was on a mission.
Right.
He does not save people. Oh, until we got done the special, spoiler alert. Now, if the Punisher, and I'm sure the Punisher is going to be scrutinized, and he does get scrutinized. The Punisher does get scrutinized.
Yeah, but not to his face. Like people do not come up to the Punisher and be like, "No, you better not."
A lot of that has to do with
the fear.
Luke is such a nice person.
Yes. Yes.
The Punisher if the Punisher whipped out a pistol and shot the person, I'd be like, I wouldn't be shocked.
Right.
That's the difference. And people take advantage of Luke because of his niceness.
They do.
It's the fear that's instilled by the Punisher, and that I mean that's the whole point of Born Again season 1 and 2, having that like task force having the skull on their chest is to instill fear.
Right.
And even the Punisher acknowledges at the end of Born Again season 1 that, like, you guys have no idea what that even means. Yeah. You truly don't understand that when people see that, it means I'm trying to kill the people who killed my family.
Yeah.
So right now, could it be because he's black? Yes. There's also not many characters that are in Luke's situation. Now we finally get one that is in Luke's situation with the Punisher, which is, again, when we get to Brand New Day, I'd be very curious to see how the Punisher's characters develop, because we don't understand that the Punisher doesn't get into that situation until the very last scene of this special.
Right.
And I think what I got out of the special is that the Punisher is now going to be helping people, and he is, like I had said, he's going to be a hero. But at the end of our review for the special, so if someone wanted to bash the Punisher, I mean, Spider-Man does it to himself. Says stop shooting people, like he says that in the trailer. But if people want to do that to the Punisher's face, I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be scared. I would never do that to the Punisher.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Luke either. And that is the difference between Luke and the Punishers. Luke is a very nice individual but people can take advantage of him.
Yeah.
And I personally would love to be friends with Luke. Frank Castle, I be scared of.
I don't want to be his enemy. I don't want to be Frank's enemy.
I don't want to be his friend. I don't want to be his enemy. I just don't want to be around him.
I just Luke, be cool with Luke, what's up, Frank?
If I was friends with Luke, I mean, like that.
Yeah, you could hang out with Luke. You could have Luke at your house. Frank is just somebody. Hey, what up, Frank?
We talk about he was talking about the NBA in season 1 in the barber shop. Like I love that. But no, that's scary. No, not with the Punisher. Absolutely not.
No.
Scary.
So, by the time Mariah meets her end, she's in prison, and her daughter comes to see her, Tilda, and Tilda kisses her, gives her a quick peck on the mouth, and "Mommy, I love you," or whatever. And she says something, and "I'm not mad at you anymore." And she walks away, and we think that this is her way of forgiving, but it's not. It is not. She's just delivered to Mariah a poison pill in her lips. Like, who would do that? Poison Ivy? I think Poison Ivy would kiss people.
Poison Ivy's does the reverse. She puts something over her lips to protect people, but she takes it off and she can basically kill people.
That's what it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, she gives her the whole Poison Ivy thing, and it's interesting because she dies in front of Luke, right? I think she does die in front of
Yeah.
Luke. Luke goes to see her, whatever, and she's like, my daughter wasn't being honest with me. She didn't mean that. And so, of course, Mariah dies. There's a power vacuum. I believe Bushmaster just decides, you know what, it's not worth it. And although Mariah does go to jail, I really don't think he got what he came for. And it really is the personification of when you plot a course for revenge, dig 2 graves, because I just don't think that the squeeze was worth the juice,
Yeah.
But he leaves. He and his cousin leave or whatever, as the only 2 members left in their family. And so there is this void, and Luke, talking it over with everyone, decides that, you know what, he's going to step up. And we see him in the club, and Luke is running the club, and he's got his suit on, and he takes down the Biggie portrait and puts up Muhammad Ali, which I really like. I mean, no disrespect to Biggie, but it's Muhammad Ali.
I know, I love both of them, but so I wouldn't take down, like, why would you ruin a perfectly good steak because you wanted a perfectly good chicken? Like, like
Muhammad Ali is not chicken. Okay.
All right. I love, look, chicken is
maybe it's
my
a
favorite
different
meat.
kind of
So
steak. Maybe it's a different kind of steak.
Like, why would you ruin a perfectly good peanut butter milkshake with a perfectly good chocolate milkshake? Like, it's like where they're no, like, I wouldn't take down the Biggie. Like, Muhammad Ali is fantastic, and I would probably I would hang something of Muhammad Ali, but I also wouldn't, if I had a Biggie poster. I'm not taking down the Biggie poster just for a Muhammad Ali poster.
Right.
Like, no, no.
Right.
I guess I get the narrative. I get the narrative standpoint, but if I was in the room with Luke, I'd be like, Luke, like, can I have it if you're gonna get rid of it? like, why are you getting rid of it? Like, I'm sure he was like, yeah, I'm just gonna throw it in the dumpster, and I'll be like,
probably reminded him of Cottonmouth.
What?
Probably reminded him of Cottonmouth, and maybe
like,
conversations that he had with Cottonmouth,
I don't know. I guess that's just I don't know. There's certain figures that you just don't get rid of, and Biggie's one of them.
I hear you. I hear you. I respect what you said, man. I get it, but
I understand thematically. Yeah. I understand thematically. I understand why he did it. I understand all of it. But if one of my buddies did that, I'd just be like, okay, I'll take it off your hands.
Yeah, see, and you know what's interesting? I think that is a generational thing, because I think anyone my age or older would absolutely do that. And it doesn't mean that you would dispose of the picture of Biggie, but if coming up in my childhood, Muhammad Ali was it. You know what I mean? Muhammad Ali, the Thriller in Manila, Muhammad
again.
Ali. So
again, I would, if it was flipped. If, let's say, there was a Muhammad Ali photo and he was putting up the Biggie photo, I'd feel the exact same way. I'd be like, why are you getting rid of the Muhammad Ali photo?
Yeah.
Okay. What are you doing with the Muhammad Ali photo? If you're getting rid of it, I'll take it. Like, gold is gold. Like,
gold is gold.
Either like you're replacing greatness with greatness, and it's like, okay, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the way I look at it.
I get it. And it's interesting because the first time I saw this, I didn't like that ending at all, because I just felt like this is wrong. But the more that I do these shows and TV series and movies with you, from a story perspective, and solely from a story perspective, in the context of that, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. I get it. I understand it. You are sick and tired of dealing with this stuff, dealing with these people. You can't even have a life yourself because these people know you. So since they're going to do it anyway, let me just police it. And I get how he got there. I still don't like it, but I understand it more and I can appreciate it from the story perspective, right?
Mhm.
And so for me, this season got better in the ratings section because
Yeah.
I probably would have rated this a lot lower than I did this time. So for me, we have done a lot of content, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a lot. Okay. For me, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. And I'm going to say that it is right above the Incredible Hulk for me.
All right. All right.
What say you, sir?
I do want to talk about one thing with a small plot line that gets brought up, and I mean we're gonna end up reviewing Iron Fist season 2.
Okay.
Is that Danny shows up,
Yep.
and I think this is the best he's been written in all of the series.
Yeah.
Is in Luke Cage season 2.
Mhm.
He just seems like I and even it's funny because Luke even says, "As you seem different," and I'm like almost pointing at the fact that the writers from season 1 sucked. Season 2 of Iron Fist is better than season
Was
1.
that a shot at them? You think was that a
Oh,
dig?
definitely. Oh, definitely. I would have done the same thing. I would have been like, yeah.
I did not catch that. I
And
did not catch that.
but it seemed right seeing those two, and that was one of my highest rated episodes was them together.
Okay.
Just they just seem like they and that single time of them together like makes me understand their dynamic together and how things could have gone in between Born Again season 2 and Iron Fist season 2.
Okay.
So that they could have hung out together. I mean, considering there's a specific character with a specific name that's in connection with one of these characters, but without spoiling anything, I just love their dynamic together. I think they play off of one another really well, and this made me more because when I went into Iron Fist season 1, I wasn't really excited because even though I actually really liked Iron Fist in the comics, but I had heard from everyone before I watched all the Netflix series that Iron Fist was definitely the worst of all of the series. But after I got done all these series, I'm like, season 2 is just so I went into season 1 thinking like oh, this is gonna be bad, and it was like, all right, it's okay. It's not the greatest thing in the world. It's bad at some parts, but
I hate his sister in season 2.
But when I went into season 2 with this specific episode of Luke Cage,
I hate Iron Man's. I'm sorry. I hate Danny's not sister, but the girl, the other.
Oh yeah, it's like
anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into that Thursday, but go ahead.
Yes, but this episode made me more excited for season 2, and I enjoyed season 2. I really did enjoy season 2 of Iron Fist, mainly because of like just the way he was written in this for Luke Cage was it was like this is how the character's supposed to be written. It's like they finally understood him, and it sucks that they just started to finally understand to write him, and that's when they canceled everything. They made the season 2 of Iron Fist shorter. But yeah. So for Luke Cage season 2, I did like it more than season 1. Not too much more. I think a lot of it had to do with, I think most of the second half of this season is what I enjoyed the most. I think there was a lot of
There was
lot of
lag time.
issues.
There was a lot of lag time.
Yes.
There was a lot of you probably could have done this in 10 episodes.
Yes.
You could have done the season in 10. That was a lot of lag time. Yeah, I'll give you that.
In fact, the second half of the season I'm probably have rated at like an 8 or an 8.5 out of 10.
Mhm.
But because of the first half of the season, I'm thinking, oh, here we go again. It feels like the same thing with Luke Cage season 1. And that changed. There was a lot like more connected tissue, more character development, things that made sense instead of the beginning of the season. It didn't make sense when Luke was crashing out. But like, I mean, the last episode of this is one of my top 3 highest rated episodes. It's actually my second highest rated episode of the entire Luke Cage series, is the finale, because I love how they tied everything together.
Yeah.
And they really did. And that's the one thing about all these Netflix series. The finales do a great job of tying everything together, except for season 2 of Jessica Jones. That specifically is the worst of all of the seasons. There's so many loose ends with that. So for me, I mean, of my average score, I had 1 negative review. I had 4 episodes that were 8 or higher. I had 1 that was a 9 out of 10, which was the highest of the season. The average rating was a 7 out of 10 for me as well.
Awesome.
I had this, in terms of movies we reviewed, I have this just below X-Men, and it is, as of now, based off what we're reviewing, my lowest rated 7 out of 10.
Yep, I see it. Yep. I see it. Well, we are moving right along, sir. Next we have Iron Fist season 2 on Thursday. Iron Fist season 2 on Thursday. Yeah. I'm just about done with that. I'm on episode 9, so I just got 9 and 10, and I'm good to go. And we'll get after it Thursday, and then we won't do anything this weekend because you're going out of town, right?
I will be out of town, so yeah.
Well, you enjoy obviously we're going to do it Thursday, but you enjoy the hell out of yourself, sir, as you have earned it. To those of you who will check this out, look, we appreciate you. We appreciate you just enjoying this Marvel content with us. We love it. You went to see the Star Wars movie the other night, right?
I saw 2 movies this week in the theaters. One on Wednesday and one on Thursday. I'm on a run of really good movies that I've been watching. Actually, I saw 3 different movies this week that I had never seen before that came out this year. One was Send Help. I saw that on Sunday. That was directed by Sam Raimi. It's funny, we reviewed Doctor Strange, and then this movie comes out, and we have Rachel McAdams in it. Rachel McAdams does such a fantastic job. It probably was my favorite acting performance of Rachel McAdams. Sam Raimi is back. It just feels like there's a lot of Sam Raimi-isms, and it was overall a really good movie. I really enjoyed it. I gave that an 8 out of 10. It just feels like a classic horror movie. Then I saw Obsession. I saw that on Wednesday. That is already one of the most profitable films of all time. Because the budget was, oh my God, what was the budget? Let me tell you what the budget was on this movie, because it was very low. $750,000 they spent on this movie. $750,000. It's sitting at
74 million worldwide.
Yeah, it's gonna hit over $100 million. To put this in perspective, what other films have done that? The original Blair Witch Project and the original Paranormal Activity. I love this movie. It was one of the best horror movies I've ever seen. It does things that I don't feel like certain horror movies have done. It's in a genre of like romance horror, which that's just such an interesting like type of horror. But it hits you in a way like I'm recommending this to anyone who's seen a horror movie. It's one of those movies when you watch it, you like at times you're like, oh, this is so cute, and then at times you're like, oh no, oh no, what are we doing here? No, don't do that. It'll make you want to, if you have a partner, it'll make you want to maybe sleep on the couch for a couple days and try to refrain from talking to them and being around them for a little bit. But it was a fantastic movie. That's my second highest rated movie of the year behind Michael. And it's in my top 10 movies since 2020. Then I saw Star Wars The Mandalorian and Grogu on Friday. I had heard pretty negative reviews, not negative reviews, but just like, I had heard one of the reviews was Jon Favreau still has no idea how to make a movie. And I couldn't disagree more. I enjoyed this movie. It was a very refreshing take on Star Wars, because a lot of Star Wars, one complaint I've had with Star Wars is that this is a galaxy far, far away in a way. And it feels like we're not getting enough of the Yes, it feels like we're not getting enough of the aliens and like cool creatures and stuff like that. That was one huge complaint I had over. Look, Andor. I've watched a few episodes of that, and it's critically acclaimed. It's an amazing show. Apparently, I still have to finish it. But a lot of human elements to that. The newest Star Wars trilogy, a lot of human elements into that. And Rogue One also, and a lot of the shows too. But there were so many creatures involved. Like I had said, when I got done this, I was like, this feels like Labyrinth in a way, like the way the puppeteering of Labyrinth, was done, and just this creative environment. It felt so refreshing to watch. Again, it's not the greatest Star Wars movie in the world, and it's not bad at all. And I would recommend this it was the most kid-friendly Star Wars film ever. I would recommend this if you are introducing a child to the universe of Star Wars. This is the movie I would introduce to them. So I end up giving that one a 7.5 out of 10. I like I said, I think it's visually it's stunning too. The story and plot is not great. Like what are we gonna do type of dialogue, and I'm like, all right, the dialogue kind of sucks here, but otherwise, it's not the greatest thing in the world. But it's not bad at all. I would definitely recommend going and seeing this.
All right, cool. Well, hey, to everyone who joined us, we appreciate you. To everyone who will join us, we appreciate you. We will see you Thursday on For My ATL Movies. For My ATL Movies on YouTube. Please come check us out. And Jordan, my guy, hey man, enjoy the rest of your day. We'll be back here Thursday, and Jordan's gonna I'm gonna predict Jordan's gonna have a great weekend coming up, because he's gonna be out of town and he's gonna be living the life, living his best life. So hey, to everybody who joined us, we appreciate you. We'll see you Thursday, and peace.
This movie was about
Lights, camera, action is going down. For my ATL Movies, when we run this town with your host T-Will, yeah, keeping it real. From the A to the screen, you can feel the thrill. Rolling with the classics, we're setting the pace. Highlighting the magic of our soulful space. Got the vibe, got the crew, making it tight. When the screen lights up, everything feels right. Grab your popcorn, let's make it loud. T-Will, T-Will. It's movie time, ATL style. Stand proud. From the silver screen to the hearts we steal. T-Will, T-Will. Every frame we capture is a real deal. Yeah. Talking premieres where the stars align. ATL views, yeah, they really shine. Behind the